Are live. Okay, today we are attacking question number 3. Hey everyone, I'm Aaron from Speaking 26, where I show pharmacists how to get their 26 on TOEFL Speaking by showing how I got 30 on TOEFL Speaking. And today we are attacking question number 3. Paulina, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Paulina. I'm from Ukraine. I am studying for the TOEFL exam because I want to transfer my pharmacy license from Ukraine to America. And in order to do that, I have to pass TOEFL on a very high score. And it requires a lot of hard work and preparation. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, so let's improve our speaking answers for question number 3. Paulina has the question, and I'll start a 30-second timer. You have 30 seconds to prepare. You may begin preparing now. Time. And if you want to use your phone to set a 1-minute timer. Okay. Let me know when you press start and I'll do it at the same time.
Okay. I begin speaking now.
Okay.
According to the reading, behavior modification is when an individual modify his or her behavior based on what they previously learned about the consequence of that behavior. The professor gives us an example of kids in school. When they just started, they first may misbehave and don't follow the rules. The teacher will get angry and punish them. So then they learn that behavior will get them in troubles. On the other hand, if they behave well, they get rewarded from the teacher. So based on all that previous experience that they learned and the possible consequences, with time, they always learn to behave well in school and do not misbehave. And that's behavior modification.
Okay.
I finished a little sooner.
A little sooner? Okay.
I still have
time. Yeah. Okay, so we still have some time there, and we can use that time that we have to integrate more of the reading, more of the definition and the details from the reading into our answer. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. We've talked about this before. We're going to integrate, incorporate, we're going to connect more of the reading. So, okay, so I'll give my answer here. This will help show the language use on how I do it. And then when I finish with my answer, if you can tell me one specific thing that will help you when you give your second answer to the same question.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can give me 30 seconds to prepare, I will think out loud and show people how I use the time to prepare.
Okay. You have now 30 seconds to prepare. Begin preparing now.
Okay, behavior modification is when individuals modify their behavior based on what they have learned about the possible consequences of their actions. It's when we learn through experience. That's the definition, and those are the details after the definition. In the examples from the professor, we learn about students misbehaving in class. They have unpleasant consequences. They are discouraged from repeating that behavior. On the other hand, when they behave well, they have pleasant consequences, and that's likely to lead to them repeating that good behavior in class. Good behavior elicits a good reaction. Therefore, the students learn to always behave that way. This is a perfect example of
You now have 60 seconds to speak. Begin speaking after the beep, beep.
Behavior modification is when individuals modify their behavior based on what they have learned about the possible consequences of their actions. In the example from the professor, we learn about young students misbehaving in class. These students misbehave and the teacher punishes them by holding them in from recess when the other students get to go out and play. Of course, the students don't like this. They don't like the unpleasant consequences of their actions, of behaving badly in class. Therefore, they learn to not repeat that bad behavior. Now, when the students do behave well in class, the teacher praises them and they get to go out to play. They like these pleasant consequences. Therefore, those actions of behaving well in class are more likely to be repeated. This is a perfect example of behavior modification because the students modify their behavior based on what they learned about the consequences of behaving well or behaving badly.
Perfect timing.
All right, nice. Can you describe one thing from my answer that's useful to you in your answer before you give your second answer to the same question?
This specific one, you used a little bit more details than me, which is good. I was afraid that I'll get into a trap, and if I start talking about too many details, I will run out of time. But as a result, I had a lot of time left, so I could have included some more details.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
That's
and
what,
did you, so you said you hesitated from speaking about too many details.
Mhm.
Was that because you were focused on saying the most important part of your
Yeah.
answer?
Because I
Okay.
thought if I'll start saying something like the kids will not go outside because they will get punished, or there was something like if they behave well, the teacher may give them a sticker and reward them. If I start talking about that, I may run out of time and will not fit in all the important information. So I just decided to say that if they behave, the teacher will reward them, or if they misbehave, the teacher will punish them, and move on with that.
I understand because I remember it's a challenge.
I like those things. I will usually include them.
Maybe sometimes too much. So it's like a balance that we have to find.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's make sure when you're ready to give your second answer, and we can keep talking more, or if you're ready, but let's make sure that you see the 60-second timer on your phone again, and we'll improve that balance to find that sweet spot of 60 seconds and how much details we can put in there. Okay. Also, I want you to remember and use in your answer here, you probably heard how many times I was weaving back and forth between the words from the definition and the details from the reading passage, then going to the examples from the audio lecture, back and forth between the reading and the audio lecture. Okay. All right. So you have 30.
I did it like at the end, that saying that based on all their previous experience, they modify their behavior and learn to always behave well in class.
I remember that. I heard that.
At the end.
You did that at the end, yes.
I just
okay,
did
so
that. I didn't include anything from the reading before that.
Right. And so, okay, so we had about 7 seconds left at the end of your first answer. I see exactly what we can use to fill in that time. And that would be during the first part of the example, when they're behaving badly. That's when you can do what you did at the end, which is use the exact words from the reading. Put that at the end of the bad behavior example, and where you did the first time at the end of the good behavior example.
Okay.
Do you want a specific example from me, a sentence or two, or just 30 seconds to prepare?
Yeah, because I don't want to repeat the same thing.
Okay.
At the end of the first and the second example, I have to make sure it's a little different.
Okay.
Like
good point.
I use different words because I don't think it will be good to repeat
okay
twice in my answer, but I'm not sure what are the other ways I can
Okay.
I can
Okay,
do
so
it.
let's see here. So some sentences, I don't think I heard you say this, but maybe you did. Maybe I'm wrong. Did you? So let's say something like, with the example of the students behaving badly, those are unpleasant consequences, or they receive unpleasant consequences from the teacher. Therefore, they are discouraged from repeating that bad behavior.
Okay.
Another way we can say that is, so I know you're going to say, the teacher holds the students in from recess. The students learn through this experience that behaving badly is going to lead to unpleasant consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And one final way we could say something like that for the example of the students behaving badly is, the unpleasant consequences of being held in from recess discourage the students, and it begins the process of behavior modification.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay, let's try it. So, Polina, you have 30 seconds to prepare. You may begin preparing now. If you want to, maybe think out loud to start warming up. Time. You now have 60 seconds to speak. You may begin speaking now.
According to the reading behavior modification is when an individual modify his or her behavior based on what they previously learned about the possible consequences of that behavior. The professor gives us an example of kids in school. When they first just started, they may not obey the rules, misbehave. The teacher get angry and get punished then. Through all that experience, that they learn about negative consequences of their behavior. However, on the other hand, when students obey well, they get rewarded from the teacher and may get a sticker on their hand and things like that. Through all that experience, they learn to always behave well because they don't want negative consequences to be repeated, and that's behavior modification.
Okay, good. I said time, but I was muted. Okay, so the time went off about 10 seconds before you stopped speaking. My mistake for having my mute on and not saying that so you could hear it. I like that you included a sentence like we talked about at the end of the first example of the students behaving badly. You said, through those experiences, the students learn about negative consequences. Good. So for this, your second answer, the only thing that I felt was missing would be using the words behavior modification or modifying their behavior. Okay. So that would be integrating more of the reading with the example. You did a great job speaking about the...
For example, with the time, they learn to modify their behavior because they don't want negative consequences to be repeated.
Yes.
And
yeah, so it sounds like that sentence would go at the end of the example of the students behaving badly.
And then, okay, then with the second example, we will say, with time they learn to modify their behavior because the positive consequences is what they prefer.
Right. Positive consequences or
Are more
pleasant.
positive consequences of behavior modifications will be much more preferred.
Okay, good. So let's do a quick minute here, back and forth,
Okay.
using these words to improve our language use. One of the 3 grading criteria on TOEFL speaking. Let's have a language use exercise. Okay, so back and forth. So Polina, can you tell me what you were just saying? Why? I know the students want to go out to recess, but can you tell me, using words from the definition and details of behavior modification, what's going on in here in the student's mind? How do they learn to behave well?
Because through all that experience, they learn about possible consequences.
Good.
And they learn that if they modify their behavior in a good, positive way by doing what the teacher is asking them, they will be rewarded, and that type of behavior will be much more preferred for them. And therefore, that's what they should always do in the future.
Good. Okay. So I like that better. And one thing I want to say is, okay, so we're talking about 2 things here: when the students behave badly, and then the second thing is when they are behaving better. At the end of the first example, when they're behaving badly, we can say something like, the process of behavior modification has begun. What I'm saying is we don't have to wait until the end to say, this is a perfect example of behavior modification, because the students modify their behavior based on the consequences of their actions. So we could say, when the students are reprimanded, when the students are punished, when they receive unpleasant consequences, the process of behavior modification has begun. This process continues in the example when the students start behaving better.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay.
How you said that after the first example, when they start behave badly, that's already the process of behaving modification. Even though they still behave well, they haven't learned yet that it's better to behave well because they'll get rewarded. It's already the beginning of the process of behavior modification.
Yes, they know to stop going this way, which is bad. Like you said, they don't know to go this way yet, but they do know to stop going that way.
But they are already in the process of learning it.
They're very good. They are already in the process of learning to modify their behavior. Good. Okay. All right, very good here. Is there anything else that you want to say about this always challenging question number 3?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, so we can look to end this live stream here, and then you and I can continue.